Hi everybody, today you're going to learn about orientation to the human body and homeostasis. So you're taking biotech in the human body, so we focus a lot on what's called A&P, anatomy and physiology. So anatomy is the study of body structure and form, so identifying different organs or bones or muscles and how they're structured, versus physiology, which is the processes of how living organisms work. For example, how does the circulatory and respiratory system get oxygen to all of your tissues and organs? So living things all have certain functions that they have to do. For example, they take in food and oxygen, they produce heat and energy, they have to be able to move to adapt to their environment. For example, even plants move. If you put them in the windowsill, they'll grow towards the light. They need to be able to eliminate waste, perform special functions like secretion, and they need to be able to reproduce and create new identical cells, which is why viruses are considered not living, because they need a host in order to reproduce. So, what is homeostasis? Homeostasis is the ability to maintain a stable internal environment. For example, your temperature. So, your temperature needs to stay at 98.6. And we'll talk about if you get too hot, what happens, or if you get too cold. Other things that need to be maintained in a stable your stable internal environment would be blood pressure, oxygen levels, glucose levels, calcium levels. Organisms maintain homeostasis at the molecular, cellular, tissue, organ, and system level. So let's think about temperature. What causes our body temperature to go up? So our metabolism, when we break down our food, we create lots of heat. If we are outside, let's say in Texas in the middle of the summer and it's 110 degrees and we stay out there for very long, our body temperature will go up. So what causes our body temperature to go down? So let's think about if you're hot, right? Evaporation is one thing that will cause your body temperature to go down. So we're losing heat when we're converting water, liquid, right, your sweat, into vapor. So that's evaporation. It takes energy to change that water, the sweat, into a vapor. Conduction, that would be direct contact between objects. So we've all experienced probably jumping in some form of pool or water or ocean, right? You're 98.6, maybe the ocean is at 80, and if you stay in there too long, the heat from that you are giving out goes into the ocean or the water, and it cools you off. Convection has to do with conduction, where one object is in motion. So, for example, air, like a fan. So, convection would cool you off, as the air that is lower temperature than you are would go by you, and it would take heat from your body and go into the wind. That's why, if you're on a windy day, it feels cooler. You also might know that convection is sometimes your oven might have a convection, and that just means the air is moving. Radiation means you're just losing heat to the environment. So that occurs as long as the ambient temperature, the outside temperature, is below 98.6, because if the outside temperature is greater than 98.6, then you'll be increasing in temperature. If you think of like the night vision goggles, and they on movies and stuff, and you use those, you can see organisms, emitting heat, and that is what radiation is. So, what are mechanisms to change your body temperature? So, when you want to cool the body off, we all know we sweat, right? And that causes the liquid sweat to turn into water vapor, taking heat away. And then also, your blood vessels dilate, which means that they get bigger. So, if all that blood is on the surface of your skin at 98.6, then it can radiate that heat off into the environment, cooling you off. So what happens when you want to warm up your body? Well, you shiver, right? And when you're shivering, those muscles are contracting, which causes heat. And then the opposite of dilation is constriction, and that's decreasing the diameter. So those blood vessels are getting really small, and that's on your skin's blood vessels. And what it does is it takes the heat from your extremities and goes into your core. So that's why if you get frostbite, it happens in your fingers and toes first, because the blood is being pushed to your core where all your organs are. So let's talk about fevers, because that's another thing that has to do with keeping your body temperature at a set level. So I'm sure everybody has had a fever before, so think back to that. So what the first thing that happens is some kind of virus or bacteria gets into your circulatory system. It could be a cold, it could be from a cut, something like that. And then your immune system recognizes that something foreign is in you, and it sends a chemical signal to the hypothalamus, which is at the bottom of your brain, to raise your temperature, right? Because we know fevers are is one of our defenses against foreign things that make us sick. So what's happening is your brain is telling your body that it should be at 102. However, you're at 98.6. So you feel cold, you shiver, you put blankets on, you drink hot tea, you curl up in a ball, you turn on your electric blanket, something like that, to raise your body temperature so that it meets that 102. The body warms up to meet the brain's direction of 102. If your body gets warmer than the brain's direction, then you feel hot and sweat until you cool down. And then sometimes your body cools down too much and you begin to shiver. So that's kind of the hot, you feel hot, and then you you sweat and you feel cold. So kind of in the middle of a sickness, you get the hot, cold, hot, cold. And then remember that the heat from the fever is actually killing the bacteria, or it's denaturing all the proteins so that they don't work. And that's how the fever works to make you get better. So once the bacteria or virus are mostly gone, then the immune system is going to send another signal to your hypothalamus to lower the temperature. So at this point, your body is at 102. Your brain is saying, no, we need to be at 98.6. And so you feel hot. That's when your fever is breaking. That means you're getting better. So when you feel like that, you sweat, you take the blankets off, you spread out so that you've got lots of surface area. You take off any extra sweatshirts or clothes that you put on when you were cold, and that's going to cause your temperature to return to normal. So hope you learned something about homeostasis, and we'll see you later.